Support for this program provided by...
Well, folks, we're starting off another work week, and it's time for me to ask you, once again, what are you doing? I am your host, Chad Stanton, and on this show, it's not about me and the projects that I'm making. No, it's about you and what you're doing in your shop. This is a place to inspire, encourage, and to help see us finish what we start. It's a place where we hold ourselves accountable for our projects. Now, we have some entries this week, so I'm going to get right into it. Starting off is Jeff Burton. Now, Jeff's submitted a lot of projects here in the past, and recently, for the last couple of weeks, Jeff's been working on this, he said it was like a clothes rack for his neighbor who goes camping with an RV. And for the life of me, when he was sending the photos, I could not make it out. So I wasn't putting any of the pictures on here because I just didn't know what I was looking at. Well, here it is. Here's a little video clip of Jeff, and I believe this is his neighbor putting it to use.
Perfect.
Okay, so now, Jeff, I'm sorry, but now it makes sense to me. It's actually really cool. I was kind of thinking before, well, why don't you just use like a clothesline and tie it to a tree? But the way you have that designed, obviously you don't need another anchor point to secure it to. You could just hang it like that and away you go. So very cool. The other thing Jeff has been working on, Jeff's got a lot of projects going actually, but he's restoring some chairs. I can't remember if it was a customer or a friend, but he had a whole bunch of chairs, like 6 or 8 of them, that he was tearing down, fixing the loose legs and restaining them, stripping the paint off them. I think he's going to restain them and that. Just a lot of work. Jeff says he really enjoys doing it. I can't stand doing that work. With the exception of, I will say, I had a customer a couple years ago, called me up. They said they had an old chair that was, I think they said 1820s, supposedly came from England, had the whole set, and had it repaired once a few years ago, and it was falling apart again. So, I always doubt when I hear those stories. But at any rate, I went over and I took a look at it. First of all, with Dennis's help, we tracked it back to like 1840. And we are pretty certain it came out of England. But what was a real shame on it was the previous person who tried to fix it. It was all mortise and tenon together. Those were broken. So this guy was just putting screws and nails in it. He made a mess of it. So I tore all that out. I remade the broken tenons on it out of the same type of wood. And really just went through and rebuilt the whole thing. They were thrilled. And what was cool for me was, as I was tearing it apart, there was witness marks or reference marks on the inside. And the numbers were really high, like, 16, 17, 18, which tells me it was made in a series, a set, a lot of hand carving on the chair. So I might have a photo, see if I can dig it up and put it here. Anyhow, that was a fun job to restore and rebuild, but typically I stay away from that stuff. Okay, we have a fellow that's new. His name is Shawn Aranyos. Hopefully I got that right, Shawn. Shawn said he's a fairly new beginner to woodworking and watched the series that I did over there on Popular Woodworking for a while. And he says at this point he doesn't know all the joinery techniques, so he's been using a lot of pocket screws, and that's okay. We can use these joints when they're appropriate. For example, I even though I like to do mortise and tenon joinery or dovetails and that, I'll use pocket screws on some applications. It's just faster, it's easier. If I'm trying to stay within budget, if it's just something I'm throwing together for the shop, I don't have to do all the traditional joinery. So not to worry about it, Shawn. We're not here to judge you, but to encourage you. So Shawn sent in this little photo that he made of an end table. It's got the walnut top. I can't remember if he said it was poplar or maple for the legs and apron, but I love that two-tone combination there. For me, it just really kind of sets it off. I think that the contrast of colors works really well on it and just makes it more of an eye-appealing project. So at any rate, Shawn is building stuff right into the style that I like. So keep it up, Shawn, and please send us some more of your work as you finish it. Daniel Lawson. Daniel made this cross for his stepmom, and he said he got the pattern from scroll saw artists online. I know there's several guys out there that are very good scroll saw artists, and they make their own templates and patterns, and Charles Deering is one. I think I mentioned him last week. Anyone who's a scroll saw fanatic can check him out. He's got hundreds of patterns to purchase at really reasonable prices. Maybe Charles should be a sponsor of the show. Anyhow, Daniel said that he made most of this out of pallet wood that was oak, and then he put some walnut in there, and even the oak trim that goes around it, he said he got that over there at Habitat for Humanity, the Restore. If you're not familiar with that, it's a great thing that Habitat does. So it allows homeowners or contractors like myself, if we're doing a remodel, let's say you're tearing out a kitchen and the countertop is still in good shape, but it's dated, or same with the sink and cabinets. Anything that's still of decent quality, you can donate to them, and I think you can write it off on taxes. But in my case, I'm not making any money off it other than the job, so I just donate it. But then they turn around and they resell it at really reasonable prices. So, like, I got the windows for my shop there. I've bought some stuff for my own home there. Sometimes I come across a decent tool or two in there. But anyways, there's all kinds of stuff. And they also have, at the Restore, the large stores, like the big box stores, when they buy too much of something or it just isn't selling well, they donate it for a write-off, and then you can get brand new things at rock-bottom prices. Look for one in your area to where you can benefit from that and also help out by donating. Bill Crispin. Now, Bill, he last week made a desk, and it was a kind of a cool-looking desk. It had a kind of a Chinese feel to it in the origins, glass top. Kind of neat joinery. Well, I think he said he's making 4 or 5 tables along that same concept. He's making this one here for his daughter. Same thing, it's going to have the glass top. And what he's doing with it, the drawer on the front, well, he said he's going to miter the ends. So when it closes, it'll be hard to tell that there's a drawer there. I've actually done that before on some coffee tables. I like coffee tables to have a storage for, magazines or coasters or whatnot. But sometimes I like the coffee table to just have a real clean look to it. I don't want a handle or a knob, so I'll conceal that drawer as much as possible with the 45s. So when it's closed, you can hardly see it. So it sounds like Bill's thinking along the same lines there. Bob Sparkman. Bob is making a graduation project for his granddaughter, Kayla. And so he made this little box for her, probably a keepsake box. He said he made it out of cherry. The tray is maple. The letter, the K on it, is made out of Purple Heart. And he got creative. He said he got the shape for the K off of some flower petals, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, he made the whole box with dovetails. So pretty impressive little box there. I always love when the viewers like yourself out there, you make these gifts and then you give them to a loved one. It means so much more than just going to the store and buying something and wrapping it up, or clicking on Amazon and having it shipped to their house. It means so much more when you put all that time into it. Like I will tell my wife, the whole process when I'm making something for her, I'm thinking of her. So and I'm sure it was the same there with Bob. Okay, Paul Bylin. Now, in my opinion, Paul has made the best project this week. So here it is. It's a little bench. You can see it's holding the plants on it. And you're probably thinking to yourself, Chad, why is that the best project? I'll tell you why. It's because Paul made it because his wife asked for it. And we all know that we better do what the missus tells us. So, anyway, so it looks like it was a nice little project that he did. His wife was thrilled, and he can make more or bigger versions of it to sit out in the yard, perhaps. But anyhow, thanks for sending that in, Paul. Let's see what we got here. Page 2. Jeffrey Stewart. So Jeffrey found this online. I don't remember if he said he saw it on Pinterest or not, but it's one of those stools that it folds up, kind of neat looking. And so he was real excited to share this with the viewers. And I told Jeffrey that actually a couple of years ago I did a very similar project like that over at Popular Woodworking for the video series. I made 2 of those little stools, just like that, and then a larger table. I think it was called Table for 2. And mine was a little bit different. I put just kind of a slight curve to the top. I don't like that real square, especially if you're sitting on it. If you're turning as you're sitting on it, that sharp corner can cut into your leg. So I kind of did a slight curve to it. And then same with the little stretcher on mine. See if I can find a photo here. I put a little curve on the stretcher that mimicked the curve on the top. But anyway, it's a neat project. And what's cool about it is it's surprisingly strong. The way it folds up is pretty cool. And you can store it away. I mean, in my case, that table is rather large. It seats 2 people nicely. But what do you do with a table when it's not in use? I usually just throw junk on it, so I could just fold that up, tuck it away in the corner, and I'm good to go. So great for outdoor backyard barbecues and stuff. When the neighbors just pop up, or just a spur of the moment party, it's great to have several of those. Throw them out there for the kids to sit on. So thanks, Jeffrey, for sending that in. Mr. Moe. So Mr. Moe is he's always doing something a little bit different. That's what I kind of like about Mr. Moe's stuff. I mean, he's made bathroom vanities and boxes and some of the other projects. He sent us some shelving. He sent in a bunch of stuff, but this time he's making some canes. And just like some of our previous viewers, he is making it out of some reclaimed pallet wood. And he wasn't sure what the pallet wood was, because he said it was really hard. He's suspecting hickory, which is great. Hickory is incredibly strong wood, which would be nice for having a cane. So anyhow, nice job, Mr. Moe. I'm curious to see what you're going to be making next. All right, so we got another new person this week, Jose Cepeda. Hopefully I got that right. Jose, too, says he's a beginner to woodworking, and he enjoys making these crosses. And the crosses that he made, it has a whole bunch of different woods in it. He's got Padauk, Purple Heart, Canary Wood, Walnut, White Oak, Ash, Mahogany, Maple. Probably just about every tree that's growing he's got out there. But what I kind of liked about it was his design pattern to it. He's kind of got like the different woods layered there. It gives kind of a really cool 3D image to it. And then his little boy asked for one that's about as tall as him. It's a 4-foot tall cross, so here it is next to his little boy with the Spider-Man shirt. Yeah! Very cool. So, at any rate, Jose, thank you for sending those photos in, and just like the rest of the viewers, I'm real anxious to see what you'll be making next. And Frank Yazzetta. Frank sent some stuff in quite a while ago, several months ago. I'm glad to see that he's still at it and watching the show. Frank sent in this week a Soji lamp, which he's done some before. He's done some little lanterns, and I did a little lamp that would sit on a table, and it has that rice paper on it. You know. Well, here's his. It's about 4 foot tall. He said it's 45 inches tall. Really unique. And what I like about it is all those little joints, you know, they have to be precise. They're not just glued and butt jointed together. They're like half laps and bridle joints and all that. And then, of course, it's lined with that paper. And I was teasing him, I hope he doesn't have any kids that would come over and boop, 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 you know, push their fingers through that paper. It'd be pretty tempting. Anyhow, cool stuff there, Frank. So that's it. That was it. I had a really light load this week of stuff that you guys sent in. I mean, some of the regulars that I see every week, like Kevin Delk, Peter Compton, Mark Fitzsimmons, I've been talking with them online, but, you know, I haven't had anything coming out of their shop. Same with Don Bullock and Jonathan Sr. Some of these you guys must just be busy, or you're starting to hate the show. I'm starting to get nervous. But at any rate, thank you for the ones that did send things in. And just to let you know, if I probably have less than 10 entries, I'll probably skip that week. No point in doing a video on it if we just have a couple. And since we had a little extra time, I thought I would show you what I was working on for myself. I'm doing a little bit of carving here. This was going to be a shelf when it's done. I'm going to cut it out, carve it. I was thinking about making it a shelf. The other week I got some flex cut chisels and I wanted to try them out. I'll tell you a little bit more about that on Wednesday. But if you would like to have your work shown here on the show, please email me at woodchoppingtime@gmail.com and we'll get your photos on here. Or if you just simply have a woodworking question, feel free to ask me. I'll do my best to answer it for you. And as always, I thank you for watching, and go dance now, people.